What's going on, guys? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and become part of the Wayne Co crew. My name is Wayne, and this is Wayne Co. So I think this is going to be the third one of these I've done so far. So I mean, if you're new to here, appreciate it. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like real quick. If not, then you already kind of know how this is going to go down. We're just going to hang out, we're going to talk, we're going to bullshit. That's really all we're going to do, and we're going to do that for somewhere around an hour. I see that we already have some people in the chat room. So Collecting with Red, hey, what's up, bud? Just Justin, hey, how are you doing? It's good to see you as always. So today I'm going to start this off just like I did last week. I'm going to talk about Marilyn Monroe, and then if you guys have any questions or you want to talk about something, hey, just over there in the chat, make a comment what you want to talk about, and we will go from there. So let's see. One day I'm going to send... Yeah. I got you. I got you, Justin. All right. So, anyways, like I was saying, guys, we're just gonna kind of start with Marilyn Monroe. And like I said, if y'all have any questions, y'all want to talk, Fett, what's up, bud? It's good to see you. How about throw a message over there? What you want to talk about? If you have any questions, if you got any questions about Funko news, maybe you've heard some rumors. I'm not the best source in the world for it, but I kind of keep up to date on this stuff. Tat, how are you doing, bud? Tat79. All right. So a lot of you guys don't know that Marilyn Monroe is just awesome, and I really have a soft spot for her. So my bathrooms to previous getting married were all Marilyn Monroe. I mean, Marilyn Monroe, everything. I had her pictures, her posters, her everything. And I don't know if you know this, but to today's standards, Marilyn Monroe would have been overweight, which is just crazy. But anyways, gonna move on from that. I've had her kind of sitting there a while, kind of like I had Ninja just sitting there for a while. I wasn't really doing anything with them, so I thought that I would unbox them and we talk about them on these lives. She is not the black and white. There's nothing extraordinary special about her. She is just simply Marilyn Monroe. My buddy, Mr. TechBot, how are you doing, bud? How many products do you use to keep your hair? Hey, so there's actually almost no like products in my hair at this moment. I just happen to have a really good, like, and I'm gonna say hairstylist. I'm not even gonna like try and bullshit y'all and tell y'all that I go to a barber shop. I don't go to a barber shop. So I've had one lady that's been doing my hair for probably about 4 years, and she's just phenomenal at doing it. And she gets me about every 2 weeks. She shoots me a message and says, hey, it's about time to get your hair cut. And she just look, she works magic. I mean, making me look halfway decent. She has to be some kind of magician, right? I mean, just absolutely has to be. So Marilyn Monroe, like I was saying, they have her down as one of the icons. She's number 24 out of the group, and she is just one of my favorite icons of all time. All time. We're going to get her out of the box. So I've just kind of had a few of them just sitting there, kind of like Ninja was just sitting there. And I've got Marilyn Monroe and a few others. So when I do these lives, I'll kind of get these guys out of the box and we'll talk about them a little bit. And like I said a second ago, if you have any questions, you want to talk about anything other than how many products are in my hair, Chris, let's throw a comment over there and we'll talk about it. And hey, if you want to know how many products in my hair, that's cool too. We can talk about that as well. I'm okay with that. So right off the jump, I'm going to tell you, I already see something about her that I don't like. And I kind of hate it when I see them come with these little acrylic stands, because I truly believe that these acrylic stands are garbage. Johnny Funko, how are you doing, bud? I feel like they're garbage. And the reason I feel like they're garbage, and I'm going to like, I'll tell you, and then you decide if you feel like they're garbage. So when they make these with the acrylic stand, losing that stand is detrimental to your pop. So if by chance you're an out of the box collector, or if you're like me and sometimes you take a few out of the box and you kind of stage them up, and then when you get tired of them out of the box, you put them back in the box and you take out some other ones, because that's what I feel like I do a lot of. Do you get your yet? I have not gotten it yet, but it is in the mail. I know that it's going to be here before we do the challenge, which is not this weekend, right? It's next weekend. You're going to have to throw a comment over there and tell me, I almost, oh man, I got this. I simply got this. So it has not came in the mail yet. It is kind of hanging out right now. I kind of wish it was in the mail, but it's going to be here. Don't worry. And I want to say that that's going to be next weekend, right? So you'll have to throw in a comment over there real quick and tell me if that's going to be next weekend or if that's going to be this weekend. And let's Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that. I exited my own stream. There we go. Hey, anyways, yes, that's next Friday. Next Friday, we're going to be doing the hot chip challenge. So, guys, please, please, please make sure you tune in for that, because we go through this pain for you guys. And my buddy Chris over at Mr. TechBot, he comes up with these extraordinary ideas. I think he just likes to see me in pain, to be totally honest with all of y'all. I'm starting to think that he comes up with these hot challenges because he doesn't like me. At first, I thought he did like me, but now I'm starting to think that maybe he doesn't. She does stand without the stand. She doesn't stand very well without it. I kind of moved it so that it wasn't so annoying. Tomorrow, guys, do not forget, me and Chris go live every Friday, 6 p.m. standard Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, why do people say Standard Time? Is that a difference if I just said Eastern Time versus Eastern Standard Time? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, don't forget every Friday, me and Chris, or Mr. TechBot, whatever you'd like to call him. I call him Chris. He's my buddy. We talk all the time. So I tend to call him Chris, but you can call him Mr. TechBot. I'm sure he doesn't mind. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. And tomorrow we're going to have another What's in Your Collection with 2 special guests. So we're going to have Popular Opinion, and we're going to have the Luau. Now, I would have to go back and look at my notes and make sure that I said that right, but I'm pretty sure that I said that right. It's going to be the Luau is his name, and he looks like he's a really good channel. I mean, both of them are really good channels. And when you're in this community, I mean, you're probably in it for a good reason, right? Her stand, see, and that's another thing I don't really like about these stands. So these little acrylic stands just piss me off 99% of the time, right? I will answer to right. That's how I feel. That's how I feel most days. Wayne is gonna, see, I don't have those problems. I hear of a lot of people that do have those problems. So once it stops burning in my mouth and in my throat and in my stomach, I don't have like that secondary burn that a lot of people talk about. They get, I don't get that one. So I am fortunate enough that I don't have that problem. Now, these acrylic stands, as I was saying just a second ago, look, I hate these acrylic stands because, one, if you lose them, it's detrimental to your collection, right? Your pop will no longer stand if you lose this little acrylic stand, which is super easy to lose if you have them out of the box at any given point in time, right? This thing slips out of your hand, it's probably gone. 2, they almost never fit in this foot right. And this is one of them that, it won't matter how hard I press down on it, it's not going to fit in her little shoes. So what probably happened, and this is what happens a lot with plastics, when they're cold and when they're hot, they act differently, right? So when they're nice and hot, they kind of have this whole expansion to them. So when it was hot, I would be willing to bet that this little stand right here fit 100% perfect, 100% perfect. When it cooled down, however, though, and it contracts, that little hole gets smaller. So when you don't have enough plastic to keep it from contracting, this is what happens. You can't get the little foot in there, and it's kind of in there, but it will fall over if you put it on a table and then bump the table in any shape, way, form, or fashion. But she is super cool. She's an awesome icon. I guess you could look at that any way that you want to look at it, but she has just been sitting back and waiting. This is from a great movie, and I want to say that it's Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is what this movie is from. And if you're into like the old classic movies, you should definitely go back and check the Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, because that's an old classic that's a must see by just about anybody. Let's see what we got going on over here. So let's see. Yeah. So actually running around the house after I eat. So that's going to be the most interesting part of the one chip challenge that we have. Now, that one chip challenge is not going to be this Friday. That is going to be next Friday. This Friday is going to be What's in Your Collection. We have 2 special guests coming on. It's going to be a really, really, really awesome show. So make sure that you're coming by to check that out. And this one's going to be a What's in Your Collection, but I can't wait to see the reaction on Chris's face when he eats this one chip, because I have a sneaky suspicion that this chip's going to be hotter than the last chocolate challenge that we did. So if you didn't see the chocolate challenge, you should definitely go check out our past lives. It's going to be in there somewhere. And this Friday is going to be an extraordinary Friday. This Friday, we have, not only do we have 2 special guests on, but we have our Patreon only giveaways. So me and Chris both have a Patreon only giveaway, and I'm going to refer to him as Mr. TechBot right now, just in case you guys don't know, because he's in the chat room right now. So me and Mr. TechBot, TechBot and myself, however you want to say that in proper English, is we're doing a Patreon only giveaway. So he has a Patreon, I have a Patreon, and if you come and join these Patreons, that enters you into being a part of the Patreon giveaway. Now, you got to make sure you select the right tier. There's 2 tiers in mine, and I don't know how many Chris has, but the tier will say Patreon only giveaway in it, right? So when you go to that tier, you can join both of our Patreons for less than the cost of a pop, right? I mean, so you would be entered in every month for less than the cost of what it would cost you to go out and buy a pop, which to me is just awesome. Now, the bigger the Patreon gets, the bigger the prize is going to get as well, which is really, really awesome. So as I get 10 patrons, the prize is going to get a little bigger. As I get 20 patrons, the prize is going to get a little bigger. And it's just going to continue to grow in that upwards fashion until we find a plateau, I guess. I mean, maybe we never find a plateau. I mean, I don't know, but we're all on this journey together and we're just going to ride it out. You have what? What do you mean? You've never, how could you never see? Chris, we're going to have to talk about this tomorrow, sure enough. So, Red, you said you have an iron stomach. So I feel like maybe I have like the whole like iron stomach thing going on, but I also think that it has a lot to do with the way that I was raised. So I was eating like this really hot chicken by the time I was starting to walk. I mean, so by the time I was starting to walk, I would venture into the kitchen, I would open the fridge and I would get this hot chicken out and I would eat it. But it probably had a lot to do with the fact that my dad was single and he kind of raised me like some of my youth by himself. So anyways, neither here nor there, conversation for a whole nother day. But I used to kind of sneak off into the kitchen and I would get his hot chicken out of the fridge and I would eat it. And no one could even understand how somebody my young could eat chicken that hot, but I managed to do it anyways. Marilyn Monroe is a pretty hot pop. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And I don't know that you would have to have this one, but if you're a Marilyn Monroe fan, I would think that you would want to have it. Now, I did see her in the black and white, which is one of them that I think I kind of wanted more than this one, but I missed the black and white one by probably months by the time that I realized that they had honestly had that one out there. Outside of the stand, what is your opinion? It's like my opinion of the pop is it's pretty cool. You know, it's Marilyn Monroe. They put a mouth on her, which to me is just really awesome all on its own, right? I mean, they almost never ever put mouths on pops to begin with. So they did put the mouth on her. They put the very iconic Marilyn Monroe beauty mark right here. I mean, so they did a really good job with the pop. I'm not a huge fan of these acrylic stands. I think if you're going to do an acrylic stand, you should almost just do a fixed stand and be done with it. Just put it on a fixed stand. That way you don't have any options of losing the stand. Got to get back to Eddie and Vay. Chris, I really appreciate you stopping by, but I understand that all the way. It's a juggling act. By the time you start becoming a content creator, because that's what I like to call it. I like to call it a content creator. It becomes a juggling act. It is to how much time is in the day versus employment versus taking care of your house versus eating your feeding your kids versus all of that just becomes this huge juggling act. Jose, how are you doing, buddy? It is good to see you. So I look, Jose, I don't know if I've had a chance to tell you, but I think I kind of told you the other day. It's really awesome that you got your channel back, bud. That's super, super, super awesome. And hey, I didn't think you were going to get it back, but I'm really glad that you did get it back. We were missing you there for a while, and it's glad to see you. I'm glad to see you again, bud. So, God, I lost train of attack. What I was talking, lost train of thought of what I was talking about. I'm gonna move over to Instagram, and I'm gonna kind of look at what Funko has going on their Instagram right now. I haven't really looked at it today, so I thought that this would just be a good time to sit back and look at it with you guys and see what you think about the new stuff they have coming out. I know that they have lots and lots and lots of new stuff coming out almost every day. They have more stuff coming out, but that always happens after a con. So remember that anytime before the con, so it's weeks before and weeks after, they always come out with this really, really, really awesome pops because they want to keep you buying them, right? And they know that coming into the con that you're going to be trying to be conservative and save the money to buy the pops for the con. And they know after the con, you're going to kind of be in a little bit of a burnout, right? And so they expect that. And that's why those are always the two really awesome times to pick those up. So I'm going to move over there real quick and then I'll kind of bounce back and forth and talk about them so I can see your comments while we're going. Let's see what we have. We don't want to go there. Here we are. So let's see. I'm gonna make this a little bigger, guys. That way we can see it. There we go. So I see that they announced that they're gonna be doing some Europe stuff, and I I guess I always thought that they always had a European store. I did not know that that was something that was going to be new. It seems really odd to me that that is something that's new, though. That they just now decided that they were going to go with this European store. These retro toys, I think they're going to continue to come out with these retros until the end of time now. But this is what I'm going to say. This is a really, really awesome line. And I'm wanting to say that this is actually from a board game. I'm trying to remember the name of it. What is it called? It's the murder mystery board game. I just can't. Clue. It's right up top. So those are all from Clue, and those are all going to be really cool pops. I don't know how hot those pops are going to be, though, to be totally honest with you guys. Those pops could be extremely hot, and then again, they could be extremely not. And I just can't remember how hot Clue was, and I don't know if Clue is still really hot today or if it's kind of died off. And I wouldn't think with today's video game era that board games would be that popular. But back in my day, before, like, and I'm saying my day like I'm super old, back when we used to sit down and do family events, we always did board games, and I try and keep that tradition going here with my family. So I'm hoping that you guys here are kind of keeping that tradition going with your family. It's really cool to see these little pieces in there, though. And I bet if you bought these, you could even kind of incorporate it into the board game. But when I see that, it kind of tells me that at some point, Funko is probably thinking about incorporating that into a board game as well. I don't really get into these guys a whole lot, and maybe you guys do, but it's something about the whole Pack-a-Packas, and they're just a little too small for me. At some point, when stuff starts getting that small, it starts becoming super easy to lose. So I just don't get into them that small. But those are super cute, if that's what you want to call them. They look really awesome. I'm sure that they're going to go in one of those Pack-a-Packer or Paca-Paca. I don't even know that I'm saying it right. It's going to go in one of those machines really, really, really well. And hey, I like those machines, and I kind of want one of those machines just for my studio. But I don't see myself picking up one of those machines just to put it in my studio. Let's see what else. Oh man, these guys right here. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to go check these pops out. But if you haven't had a chance to go check these out, go over to Entertainment Earth. They just dropped, and I want to say that you can go over to Hot Topic as well, because Hot Topic actually has this exclusive going on with these guys. So it's the Coke can, and then the Coke cap right there, you see. But then they have the plush that goes with them also. But they also have, and I'm going to see if they're on here real quick before I start talking about it. They also have, oh yeah. So one of them's on here at least. Two, well, I mean, one of them's on here. So they also have these guys, and these guys right here are all made to look like the package, right? They have them in the donut package, they have them in the Kool-Aid package, and they have them in. Oh, I'm trying to remember right off the top of my head. They had the Planters peanut guy. They have the Kool-Aid. It's not a Kool-Aid man, though. It's a Kool-Aid packet, which, look, I think it looks better than the Kool-Aid man, but that's just my opinion. This line right here is going to be a really, really, really awesome line. Now, I don't know how hot this line's going to be in the collective world when it comes to Funko, because I kind of see some flaws and some differences in it that you don't really see in the pops. Justin, how are you doing, bud? The one chip challenge, that is, we will be doing that not this week, but next week. So that's going to be next week. We'll do the one chip challenge next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to keep saying the Eastern Standard Time just in case there's a reason why I shouldn't. So let me get back over here. Like I said, I don't really know the problem, and that's where I was going with that. The problem that I see with those guys is that they don't look like a pop. Okay, these don't look like a pop. They don't look like a soda. They don't look like anything that you're used to seeing when you're looking at the Funkos, right? So I don't know how hot that line's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be super hot. I don't know if it's going to be super cold. I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens when they release this line, because it's not a bobblehead. And Funko has done a bunch of other things that just didn't go that well, right? So we're going to wait and see. And I think they're calling this a pop, even though I think they should have made a whole different brand with this right here. But we'll see how hot they are. I think that the only thing that's going to tell us if these are going to be super awesome to collect is how they sell, right? If they don't sell out immediately, then we know that there's going to be a problem with them. Big Boy. Now, we all know that Big Boy was, I want to say, the first, and it was the first, or almost, it was the first figure that Funko made, and it wasn't a big boy. It was more like one of these guys, but it was a little different. You'll have to go back and check some of those out. They called them Wacky Wobblers. So that's where Big Boy got his start with Funko. And they have some big boys out there that are worth extraordinary amounts of money. I don't know that this is going to be one of them. It seems like the last few big boys they didn't do that well. They just kind of like stayed at the price that you bought them at the store. So I don't know that this one's going to go up in value, but I also don't know that it's not. I do know that if I look back at a lot of the Pop Village sets, they don't tend to really go up in value. They kind of like stay at the value they're at, and that's where they're at because it takes up a lot of space to have these things, right? And at some point, that's the problem that we all run into as collectors is space. We start running out of space faster than anything that you would imagine. And I guess before you start like a real collection of something, you don't really realize like how much space you need to collect things. And because these boxes are bigger than a normal pop, and when I mean bigger, they're probably about 6 pops put together or so. So you have to dedicate a lot of shelf space to stuff like this. And that's going to be my speculation on why that kind of stuff right there just does not do that well. So after that, it doesn't look like they've came out with a whole lot here to talk about. I mean, we see these guys, and you're going to see these guys, and they're going to keep making them and keep making them and keep making them and keep making them. They're going to keep making them until there's just no room to make them anymore. I mean, it's... let me see. Jose says the new ad icons. Let me throw that up there. Jose. Yeah, I agree. To me, it looks a lot like and I'm gonna see if I can say this right with I'm trying to figure out how to say this, right? It looks a lot like the little minis, mini brands. Excuse me, guys. I had to sneeze real quick. So to me, they look a lot like the mini brands, the new ad icons, and I don't know how well they're going to do. We're just going to have to like sit back and wait and see how they do here in the future. I mean, because they're either going to do really well or they're going to do really bad. And I think the only thing that's going to tell us how they're going to do is how they sell. Now, I am really unfamiliar with this movie or this series, and see that right there off the start should tell you like how bad I am with this already. I don't have a clue what these guys are. I mean, I know that it's Wanda's Vision, but I don't know what they are. I mean, I see that they have one of them that's going to be a GameStop exclusive, but once again, I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm just going to kind of skip over that. Don't collect Pokemon, so we're not going to look at that one. And then here we go with these Paka things again, right? And so, like I said a second ago, I don't really collect the Paka things just because of the size of them. They're super small. To me, that makes them super easy to lose. I don't see them as being a real collectible, but hey, I know that there's a lot of people that do collect them, so don't put me any nasty grams over there in the comments or any of that stuff. So look, I totally understand that there's a lot of us out there that do collect them. I'm just not that big into them. All right, guys. So that is going to be my Instagram of the day, but I am going to move off of that and go into the Funko shop. Now, I was over at the Funko shop very briefly for a second today, and I kind of looked through there. Guys, if there's anything y'all want to talk about, throw a comment over there and let me know what you want to talk about. Any questions you want to ask, anything like that. Look, like I said earlier, I don't know that I am an expert at Funko, but I keep track of what's going on with it on a pretty regular basis. That's for sure. So I'm going to move over into the Funko website. Like I said, I kind of browsed through that a little bit today, but I didn't really sit over there and do a whole lot, with it. But let's see what we got there. So right off the jump, I seen the two here that I don't know how these two are going to do. I mean, you have Casper, and Casper to me is a really awesome pop, but I don't see him as flying off the shelves anytime soon, right? I mean, even if he is a very recognizable pop and he's very popular, he used to be very popular. I don't really think that Casper has the popularity now that he used to have. So, look, I'm just gonna put it out there that I don't think that one's gonna be that hot. So I mean, if you want to like wait on that one a minute, I think you're gonna be okay. Here we go again with the child. Now, for everybody here that knows me, y'all know that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a huge Mandalorian fan. The Mandalorian with the child to me is a really awesome pop. Now that's one of them that I'm going to be picking up myself. The child that's wrapped in this wrap here to me is, look, that is an okay pop. And that's how I'm going to leave that. That is an okay pop. There's nothing extraordinary about it. They've made 8 different variances to this guy already, and I'm just not getting excited about the child until they give me a different pose. I want them to give me something different when it comes to the child. Instead of just giving me the child with his hand in a different position or wrapped in something or something, I want you to give me something different. So I am boycotting buying any more childs until they do something different with these guys, because I just can't see myself getting into them. I mean, I just can't. Yeah, I mean, so that's exactly what I'm saying is that child, they need to come out with a different pose. They need to quit now. It's getting old. They need to stop. Look, like I said, the Mandalorian's super hot, but and that's, look, I'm glad that y'all see that the same way I do, because I could see that going one or two ways, because you just have people that are diehard the child fans, and then you even have some people that call him Baby Yoda, even though if I do my math, this would have been sometime after like Yoda had passed away, but anyways, it could be a clone of Baby Yoda, which is my guess. My guess is they introduced a whole like clone theory at some point in Star Wars, and the child is going to be a clone of Yoda. He's not going to be, well, I mean, I guess at that point you could call him Baby Yoda, but I would still think that it would not be Yoda. It would be a clone of Yoda, and that's too deep. We're not going any deeper than that. That's too deep. So we're going back into the sets, right? And the Star Wars figures, I'm always into the Star Wars figures. It's just the way I feel. I try and collect at least one of each character, and there's so many characters out there that I will be trying to pick this guy up, even though he's in the Mandalorian, right? And he's from the part where he was trying to save the village, and the village got shot up, and these were the guys that were coming in and raiding the village. And if you haven't seen that, go check that out. It's last season's Mandalorian, super awesome series. I think that you could probably binge watch that in 2 days flat, to be totally honest, but I don't know. Yes, see, now that's I'm gonna throw that up there in just a second, Red. I mean, just a second, I'm gonna throw that comment up there, because that's kind of going to the point that what I'm trying to say is that I don't believe that it's Yoda. I firmly believe that it's going to be an offspring of Yoda or a clone, because at some point they did introduce that. Funko PDX, how are you doing? Here we go to like one of the village sets, right? I mean, so these things have not been that popular in my eyes. Now, you'll have to throw a comment over there and let me know that if you see this a little different. But in my eyes, these village sets have not been that popular because they take up so much space. Anytime that you want to put this guy on yourself, you instantly know that you're going to lose almost a whole shelf to just this one thing. Now, that would be different if it was a hot series or a sideshow and it was a statue. I think that in my mind, I would look at that a little different, and I would almost be willing to accept the fact that I was going to give up my whole shelf to a sideshow. I would be okay with that. I'm not okay with giving up a whole shelf to this village something set. With that said, I do have the Christmas village, just because it's kind of like, it reminded me of my family when my mom would bring out all of her little Christmas houses and she would display them around the tree, and she would set up this little village with these little lights. It kind of reminds me of that, but it's kind of the cheap version, if you ask me, because I don't have to put up any lights. They already have lights in them. I just simply set them up, and then that's it. I don't touch them anymore. At the end of the year, I take them down, put them back in the boxes. I'm done with them for a whole year. That's another conversation for a whole nother day. Guys, make sure that if you have any questions or you want to talk about something, to throw a comment over there. Look, you don't have to sit back and be quiet. You come here to hang out with me, so let's hang out, let's talk, have a conversation. So, Red, yes, so that goes to what I was saying about a clone, right? It's either a clone or it's going to be, an offspring of. I don't see it being Yoda, and so I don't really like the Baby Yoda. To me, it's more of the child until they tell us what it's going to be, because we all know that Star Wars, Lucasfilms, however you want to look at this, or even Disney now, because I think Disney has done some pretty good things with Lucasfilm since they've managed to take it over, right? So however you want to look at this, I think that they're kind of going to pull a trick on us, and they're known for it, right? They show us bits and pieces, and they draw us in, and they wait and they wait and they wait and they build the suspense, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is so and so, right? So that's kind of how I see that going. Let's see what we got over there. Let's see. Says I only have the. Well, I would have. That's kind of crazy because I would have actually thought that the Funko HQ would have been the biggest one of them all. So it's kind of wild that it's not. But I would have truly thought that that was a big one, because when you see a picture of that, I mean, it looks like it's going to take up a lot of space. So I have all of the Christmas Village. I would have to give up at least a shelf for two of them. I mean, they're big enough that they would take up a whole shelf between the two of them. And if I put two of them together, that they would be the size of a 10-inch pop is what I want to say. Now that the villages were also kind of right at the start of what they were doing, and they were very early on into what I want to say was the Funko development of a village. So maybe they've scaled them down a little so that they're not so obtrusively taking up space. But the four that I do have, they're obtrusively in the space that they take up. So I actually store those away until another day. So Justin was listening to me. So I think everybody's mom at some point had one of these villages that they just kind of every year they pulled out. They would lay down this crazy I want to say that it was this cotton tinsel mix first. So you got to lay that down first, and then you kind of put your homes in the place that you want them, and then you start popping the street lights up through the bottom. That way they don't fall over. Look, I remember all of that all too well. Really, really awesome memories. Let me see. I am thinking that Funko is making well. I agree with you on that to an extent, right? So Funko is going to listen to us as a community. It's only in their best interest to listen what the collectors are wanting. On the other hand, I think that they follow the price, right? So if the price is going to be too expensive, and especially in their licensing agreements, Funko pays more for their license agreements than any other toy company or collecting company out there. So the average license agreement would be about 10% royalty, right? So what that means is the company that, so let's say Star Wars or Disney, for example, Funko comes in and says, hey, I want to make some Star Wars stuff. And they say, absolutely, you can make it, but you got to pay me 10% of every sale. Well, Funko comes in and says, I'm not going to pay you 10%. I'm going to pay you 15%. So they knocked it up another 5% as to what most companies are willing to pay. And that gives them an advantage and a disadvantage. That gives them an advantage on getting licensing deals that other people would not have gotten because of the 10% royalty. It gives them a disadvantage because they're paying more royalties than anyone else out there. So they are trying to recycle a license agreement as many times as they can. And that's why a lot of times we see that the one pop or one thing gets redone over and over and over and over. They're running that license agreement into the ground until they can, I guess, until they feel as if they're recouping the money that they want to recoup, right? It's going to be something to that basis. So their license and the price that they're paying has a lot to do with what's driving the direction as to what they are making. And look, it's only to kind of, it's only to be expected, right? I mean, you kind of have to expect that to happen. That would be a really awesome pop, no joke. I mean, that Haggard on the motorcycle would be an awesome pop, and I remember that part of the movie because it is such an iconic part of the movie. But on the flip side to that, I'm not really that big into Harry Potter, so you know what I mean? So I don't watch it that much. That's a horrible thing to say to your mom, but why would you say that? You've got to like get it in writing. I'm gonna move on past these guys real quick, guys. So I mean, they're coming out with these keychains. I don't collect a whole lot of these keychains. When they come in mystery boxes and stuff like that, if I get my hands on them, I get my hands on them. If I don't, I don't. Now, the Oogie Boogie soda. I have not picked up this soda yet, and y'all know how I feel about these sodas. I'm a really huge like soda fan, but I just have not grabbed this one yet. It's not that I'm gonna not, let me see. I'm not I don't know that I'm not gonna get it, but I also don't know that I'm gonna get it because I'm just not that huge of a Nightmare Before Christmas guy. I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe if it sits there long enough and I just feel like I want to get it, maybe. But they're coming out with so many sodas right now that I kind of can't keep. I kind of can't keep ahead of it as it is. So I don't. That one will probably just sit there. I can't believe it hasn't sold out already. But I think that it's a 20,000 piece set. So that probably has a lot to do with the fact that it hasn't sold out. The Peter Pan is going to be an awesome one. I want to say that this is going to be a pop ride. This looks like that it goes in hand with the Donald Duck that they made, the Mickey they made, and maybe that's part of the train set. I wish they would have gave us a side view. That way we would have got a little bit different, you know. Did I see the guy's comment? Let me see. No, I didn't really see the guy's comment on there. So collecting with Red, I really try hard to stay away from negativity, and because it's all right. It's really hard to be negative. Not really hard to be negative. It's really easy to be negative. Really, really easy to be negative. Being negative is such an easy, natural thing that a lot of times we do it without even thinking, right? So, and it's also really easy to be negative from an outside perspective, right? So when what I mean by an outside perspective is we don't own Funko, we don't work for Funko, so it's easy for us to stand on the outside and say, man, y'all could do this better, or man, you really should like do this, right? It's easy for us to do that because we're not there. It's really hard to be positive. Being positive is a really hard thing. Waking up every day and saying, this is going to be a good day. This is the day that I'm going to conquer the world. And I guess Pinky in the Brain cartoon is kind of what comes to my mind when I think about that. It's you got to wake up every day in a positive mood. You have to wake up every day and say, man, this is going to be a good day and nothing's going to upset me. And when stuff upsets you because you're human, you have to take a step back and say, man, it's okay. It's okay. It upset me for that second, but now that I have stepped away from it, I'm going to breathe and I'm going to be positive again. So when it comes to Funko and the stuff that they do, and even other people that are posting online, or other content creators or people on YouTube, just remember that it's really easy to be negative. It's so easy and natural that is something that all of us do at some point. It's super hard to stay positive. So stay positive, be a positive person, and you'll be surprised how many positive things will happen just from being a positive person. Guys, I'm really sorry that I got some allergy stuff going on right now. It's fall, so I don't mean to be sniffling, but I kind of am. All right, so I'm gonna get off that soapbox on how I feel about but being positive is the hardest thing to do. So you have to be positive every day. But I'm going to move off that soapbox. Let's see. I did see this. I did see this. So UK has now got their own shop. I didn't know that they didn't even have their own shop, which to me was just crazy that they didn't have their own shop. Clayton, how are you doing, bud? Roger Rabbit. I don't think that I've seen this Roger Rabbit Funko Soda. I'm gonna have to go check that out. That must be a fairly new one. Let's see. Right, and look, like I was saying, look, it's really hard to stay positive, and being positive is where you want to be. It's really easy to be negative. I mean, being negative is such an easy thing to do, but just remember that staying positive, right? And you just be surprised how much different life will be if you just stay positive. Underground Toys exclusive. Okay, hey, I'm gonna have to go check them out. But I was looking at Funko's blog, and maybe it's on there. Maybe I can scroll back up real quick and check that out. So it looks no, it was on their blog. So. Let's see if I can switch over to that. Okay, so I'll switch over to that before we get out of here. So it looks like y'all are getting your very first Funko Shop, which to me just seems crazy because I guess I just thought in my mind everybody had a Funko Shop right now. I didn't know that the UK didn't have their own Funko Shop. So the UK right now, I think that it started today. Maybe it didn't start today. I don't really know, but I'll switch over to the blog and I'll look at that real quick before we get out of here today. But we're gonna scroll through the rest of this real quick. So the Mickey holiday to me is pretty hot. This Santa Claus is recycled from last year. I actually have that one already. All right. And Mrs. Santa and the mayor are also two of them that were recycled from last year. Hey, there's nothing wrong with them recycling these guys from last year. Just don't believe that they're new pops because they're not new pops. I want to say that this Harley Quinn is actually recycled from last year as well, but I don't know about the little evil like dog thing or hyena or jackalope that they have there with her. This Wally is a really awesome pop. Now, I have not ordered it yet, but I'm also like at this funny stage right now that I'm kind of slowing down on my orders at the moment just because I have so many orders that are sitting out there right now that I've kind of had to like pump my brakes for a second and step back. And then we got Bob Ross as a keychain. Now, y'all know how I feel about Bob Ross. I am probably going to like, I just said a second ago that I don't have a whole lot of keychains, but this is probably one of them that I'm going to have. The whole like Office Space like hat. I don't, let's talk about that for a minute. So I don't know how I feel about Funko getting into the clothing line. Now I know that they are into the collecting line, but to me, clothes are not collectibles. Clothes are meant to be worn. I'm not going to hang this hat up somewhere and never wear it. And so that's just my personal opinion. Look, that I could be wrong on that, but I kind of wish that they would stay away from the clothing. It sometimes I feel like Funko was moving in too many directions. They have their clothing line, they have their sodas, they have their pops, they have their candy. I can't even think of what they're called. The candies. They have so many different like lines and moving in so many directions sometimes. But I feel like maybe they should slow down on how many directions that they are going in. I see person icon. Like, oh, I kind of told you, Chris, not to fall into that, that alien line because that alien line is a huge rabbit hole, and I stayed away from that one. I probably wouldn't have stayed away from it until I seen that they started making one after another, after another, after another, and then I said, whoa, 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 pump your brakes. You are not going to get me on that one. And hunt for the hobgoblin. I didn't pick up the hobgoblin either, so I understand that one as well. Let's see. John, how are you doing, bud? It's good to see you. Yes, they released a new Marty McFly, and I just picked up the other day the Doc with Einstein. So if you haven't seen that one, that's a Walmart exclusive. It is Doc with Einstein. But here's the funny part: the part of the movie that they're showing the Doc with Einstein wasn't Einstein, and I can't remember the dog, but it was a totally different dog than Einstein, or maybe that was. I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute. But I just recently watched them. Christina, how are you doing, ma'am? It's good to see you. Hey, super, you have a good one, but I appreciate you stopping by. So I am going to move on from there. But like I was saying a second ago, at some point I feel like Funko was moving in too many directions. They have too many lines going on at one time. They need to slow down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just pump their brakes on it just a little bit. I mean, here we go again with the hat. To me, I wish that they would not come out with the clothing line, but it's too late. They already have. They actually did something right though. They made the Haggard in the 6-inch pop a lot like they did the Giant here recently. So Andre the Giant they also made in the 6-inch pop. Those to me should have been 6-inch pops from the very beginning. So the fact that they're going back now and making them 6-inch pops is just truly awesome. Truly awesome. Let's see what we got here. Also, Edward Scissorhands. I did not see Edward Scissorhands. Well, see, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is the new one that they come out that has Doc and Einstein should not have been Einstein. So it should have been, and I can't remember the name of the other dog. We had a name that was earlier version It looks just like Einstein. I mean, it was the same breed, the same everything, but it was not Einstein. And I can't remember what the name of that dog was. Edward Scissorhands is a pretty cool exclusive. I'm not really into Edward Scissorhands. If I was, I would have picked those up. But I mean, I just wasn't that into them. I have not seen the T-shirt combo yet, but I am currently looking for the T-shirt combo. I just sent a package out to you today, just so heads up on that while you're here. I sent a package that should be coming to you in the next 3 or 4 days, somewhere in there. That carousel Beetlejuice is really, really awesome. I did a video on that not too long ago. I think that is probably the best Beetlejuice that they've done so far. Look, just in my opinion. Right in, moving on. So I'm gonna try and get through this whole list, and then I'm gonna make it over to the blog just so that I can show y'all what they got going on there. I'm not super into Harry Potter. I know a lot of people are. There's nothing wrong with being into Harry Potter. It's just not something that I'm really into. There's some pretty cool pops, I guess. I mean, because I don't know a whole lot about Harry Potter, it's hard for me to really talk about it and to try and give you a real opinion on it, right? Because my opinion shouldn't mean a whole lot about Harry Potter because I'm just not that into it. Even though like the whole like Dumbledore here is that's pretty cool, right? But it's still not one of them that I would go after. These guys are from a movie that I have not seen. I'm confused on the difference in the two of them. I don't really see. Can you see that? There's not a whole lot of difference there. I see the difference. The difference is in the eyebrows and in the mouth, but they're the same pop that they painted different eyebrows and mouth on. Yeah, that goes to that recycling thing that it's okay for them to recycle. It's just this one is obviously recycled. I mean, they could have did something different with the hands. Maybe they could have balled both the hands up. They could have done something a little different there, right? To have made that pop out a little different. Let's see. And let's see what else we got. So it goes over to this whole thing I haven't seen yet. I don't, so I guess I'm just gonna kind of run by those real quick, guys. If that's something you're into, that they look really cool. This is so now that I'm not really into the horror stuff. The horror stuff to me is just not something that I'm really into. But this Pennywise is really awesome. And so I guess that's a movie that Pixar is coming out with. Is it going to be more toward Christmas? Is it more toward Thanksgiving? Chris, if you know, throw us a comment over there real quick, because I just don't know. I know that it's from a film or a cartoon or from a something, but I just don't know. Now this Pennywise is pretty hot. I remember the first renditions of Pennywise kind of all looked like this. This one kind of gives you the chance to get that Pennywise again without spending an arm and a leg trying to get your hands on it, right? So that one kind of gives you the chance, if you want to pick up the original or the classic Pennywise as they call it, this is your chance again to get your hands on him. But with that said, I don't think he's going to stick around in the shop long. I mean, so if you want him, he's probably one of them that you're going to want to like get your hands on. So it's going to be more of a Thanksgiving thing. Okay, so Soul is going to be more of a Thanksgiving thing. Look, I'll probably check it out when it comes out. It looks a little weird to me just looking at the characters that they have. It clearly doesn't look like something as an adult that I'm going to be overly excited about. But who knows? We won't know until they come out with it. I mean, we just won't know. This is the Tim Curry Pennywise. So, and I want to say that Yessie Lou, is that the original? Is that like the original Pennywise? Because that's what I want to say. That's the original Pennywise. Collecting with red. What do you mean black and white versions of what? And then so I don't necessarily hate clowns. I'm just not really into them. They're okay. They're not going to bother me. I'm not super into a clown. I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll dress up as a clown. I've got the whole like Wayne Coyne going on right now. Getting out of the breast cancer awareness, or what I want to say week, but it's actually a month. I'm going into the next 2 weeks of like a Wayne Coyne, so you'll see me dress up as a few different characters, and I might throw some jump scares in there. Who knows? Who knows where I'm going with it? I kind of started it all in fun. So next week, make sure you're sticking around to check that out because I have the whole Wayne Coyne going on. I bought my first mystery box today. Whoa. I am so John, I don't really get into mystery boxes. It's not something that I do. I like I truly respect all of you guys that do. I mean, it takes a lot of courage and bravery to get into those. To me, I like knowing what's going in my collection, and because I'm not a reseller, because I'm not any good at it. I am horrible at reselling stuff. I don't write descriptions right. I don't get the pictures posted right. It seems like it is a horrible experience for me all around. And then you got to make a trip to the post office. So it's because I'm not a reseller, I guess I just haven't gotten into the whole like reselling world. That Pennywise is a pretty hot Pennywise, and I'm not really into Pennywise, and I'm not going to like run out and buy one, but I'm probably going to pick that one up if he's there in the next couple of days. Okay, so there's a red and black one as well. Now that would be pretty hot. Or did you say that it wasn't as hot? I'm gonna have to go back and read your comment right now. Oh, so you're saying that you don't really like the black and white Pennywise? I'm gonna have to go check that out. I didn't even know that they had a black and white Pennywise. So, like I said, I was gonna scroll through this. I haven't scrolled through this by myself, so I'm scrolling through this with y'all based on the TV movie. I have, out of all the jobs that I've done, John, I have never worked at a haunted house, which is kind of wild because I was a carny at some point in my life. So they had this they had this whole like amusement park that would come to our little town, and every year they would hire some kids to come like help them put stuff together. So I was one of those kids that would go, for it wasn't even no money neither. I want to say it was like 20 or 30 bucks a day. They would pay you to come help them put all this stuff together for like the week coming up into the whole like the whole fair. It wild, but I've never worked at a haunted house, which always looks like a lot of fun, but I've just never ever made it there. I don't know why, Chris, you keep saying that you don't like this Annabelle pop. I really think that you should just come to terms that Annabelle is going to be at your house the rest of your life. You should make sure that you put her right up on the front of your shelves, and you should just promote her loud and proud. The only thing, let's see. Oh, okay. So I did not know that, but it makes sense, right? The printing has gotten better over the years, so that the boxes even look different in the newer ones versus the old ones. Hey, I didn't know that. I appreciate you like educating me on that. Very, very true. Look at, hey, I understand that, but no one in my house other than me collects pops. So me giving it to anybody in my house would just never happen. I have one Pennywise pop, and then I have, well, I guess if you think about like the movie Pennywise, I have a Chase, and then I have a George, and then I have Pennywise, but I don't have like this clown in particular. So I think that I'm gonna go out to. I don't think I'm probably right when we're done with this. I'm gonna place an order to pick that guy up. I'll agree that the new Pennywise pops look pretty hot, but it's something about that one just being a classic. I mean, it almost doesn't look like Pennywise. It almost looks like some rogue clown that went crazy. Now, what you're saying right here, John, to me is just insane. People volunteer to work at a haunted house. To me, just seems crazy that they can convince people to come volunteer to sit down and work. I look, that just seems insane to me. But I'm going to move on real quick, and I'm going to scroll through some more of these. So I have picked up the Little Wayne. I have not like falling down the Ghostbuster thing, even though I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Because I do have some Stay Puft guys. I just have not fallen down the whole like Funko and the Ghostbuster pops, because that's another huge rabbit hole, as you can see right there. So guys, I'm going to move over real quick to the Funko blog, and just see what we have going on there real quick, because I know that they released that they were going to. They opened up a store there in Europe, and I guess I didn't even know that they didn't have a store in Europe, but apparently they don't have a store in Europe. But I seen that somewhere, and I guess I got to figure out where that was now. It must have been on Instagram. Yes, that was on Instagram. So I'll switch back over there real quick. So let's switch over there real quick so you guys can check that out before we get out of here. So I did see that they says that the European online store has been now launched. I guess I just always assumed that Europe had a store just like we do, which to me just seems crazy that they don't. I mean, but hey, I guess I don't know. I guess I just assumed that they already had one. I've been a horror house actor for years, collecting with Red. That is crazy. What do you mean you've been a horror house actor for years? So do they pay you for that? Just don't unbox the Annabelle. Yes, Lou. Why don't we unbox the Annabelle? I kind of want to know why we don't unbox it. That seems like to me that's one he should take out of the box. Definitely, he should take it out of the box, put it right in front of the box, right on the front of his shelf, loud and proud. That way, when it gets out and runs around his house, he won't be surprised that it was running around his house. Chris, no one's ever going to buy that pop. They don't want it for the same reason you don't want it. Puzzlehead. So I guess I'm not that big of a horror guy collecting with Red, so I've just never really been out of them. I refuse to watch It the movie. I kind of agree with you. I think I told you not too long ago that my imagination is really well, so I tend to not watch a lot of like those horror films in general, just because my imagination would play tricks with me for the next 9 years if I watched it. You've been so this is one of them that I was trying to get to. You've been a horror house actor for years. So do they pay you for it? I mean, what is the upside to being a horror house actor? I mean, there has to be an upside to it. And throw me a comment over there and let me know what that upside is, because now you have my curiosity running. And let's see. Funko now is probably better quality than before, and I'll agree with that. Funko, that's true with everything you do, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. So they've done it so long now that they've just gotten really, really, really good at it. Well, Chris, I do that. I do that from time to time. So it happens all the time. Let's see. There we are. Happens all the time. Oh well, I just yes, Lou. I don't really watch horror films like I was saying just a second ago, because my imagination will be all over the place if I sit back and watch those. But guys, we're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna get out of here. I truly appreciate you stopping by. But hey, don't forget, before we get out of here, tomorrow me and Mr. TechBot will be going live 6 p.m. Standard Eastern Time. We do it every Friday at the same time. Make sure that you come check us out. We're gonna have 2 special guests over there. We're gonna have Popular Opinion, and we're gonna have the Luau, both really, really awesome channels. If you haven't checked those guys out, take a minute right now to go check those out, and make sure you're there tomorrow. We also have our Patreon only giveaway coming up. Now, if you are not a part of our Patreon, you should definitely go check that out. So me and Mr. TechBot have 2 separate Patreons, but we're both doing the same thing. We both have on there a Patreon only giveaway tier. So make sure that you go check that out. That tier will cost you less than a pop will cost you every month, but it's going to give you the chance to win some really extraordinary pops. And if that's something that you're into, I put down in the description below a link to my Patreon. So make sure you go check that out. Don't forget, guys, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and become part of the Wayne Co crew. My name is Wayne, and this is Wayne Co. Have a good one, guys.